Yeah, good morning, my Teaserking family. This will be a shorter video. Uh, Got to do some errands. Anyway, gold 37.54. Look for a jump at 10 o'clock as it's going down now. It should go up at 10. Silver 45.39 on its way to 50, on its way to 100. I know people don't like believe or understand when I say $1,000 silver, $20,000 gold. It's based on two things. One, it's been held down on purpose. So you're not using the laws of supply and demand. In other words, if people want the product, they will buy it and the price will go up because I can charge more because I got demand for it. But that's not what's happening in gold and silver. It's going up, but then you have shaving today, but then you have these options and COMEX pulling the price down. Like here, why is gold going down now? This is not because of lack of demand. This is not because of sales. This is because of options. This is Eddie Murphy going, orange juice is 142. Time to sell it. It's bullshit. It's not the market acting as, hey, we need to do this. So just an FYI. So if you take all this down out of it, it should only go up. And then I get to the frenzy of the Titanic as they finally realized the boat's sinking because they thought it was unsinkable. So as they realize it is sinking, it is a boat and it will sink, then that's what happens. So because of that, they started panicking and they said, shit, we need the lifeboat. And there wasn't enough lifeboats. And the guy starts paying, here, I'll give you $1,000 to get me on the lifeboat. The guy's like, I can't use the money. I'm going to drown. So what good's the money to me? And that's the real key to it. It's been held down, but not by, it's not a real demand supply situation as people like to think it is. You know, people will go, oh, it's a supply demand thing. And it's not. It's just strictly at the mercy of the options. So what I'm assuming, which I'm sure will happen, is as COMEX goes away because the Chinese and the Russians and all the BRICS people don't want it to go. They want to use physical market. They want a physical market because they got all the gold. And so that's when COMEX gets out of the way. There's no more drops. Now it's just buy and watch it go up. And as people realize that this is worthless, hey, look, and this is worthless. Once they realize these are worthless, there's only one option, gold and silver. And so gold will go and gold will hit 10,000. And then people who can't afford the gold, who are late to the party, who realize the boat's sinking, will then go into the silver. And because you've got to get out of the dollar. I mean, that's really the key to it. Yeah, gold, well, silver's 45.37. And gold's 37.58. It hit 37.65. It's doing, oh, now it's U-turning. 10 o'clock should go up as it's going down now just before 10. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna, like I said, no sweat. We'll see $4,000, then $5,000 gold. It just, as long as it's on COMEX, it's a little of this bullshit. I don't know what the banks are thinking, trying to do options with the most demanded thing in the world, and silver's pretty much broken. 45.34. You're going to see 50, and people will go, well, that's as high as it can go until it hits 55, and then people realize they've been Ponzi schemed, they've been made off, and then watch it go to 100. And once it hits 100, people will have woken up asking why, of which case we'll say, because this is worthless. And, oh, yeah, by the way, this is worthless. Oh, yeah, and by the way, the British pound's worthless, as is the Swiss franc and the Canadian dollar. And then then we get the frenzy into gold and silver. And that's when you'll see $1,000 silver. And it's happening. it's not, oh, it's going to go from, look at the value of a house, or, the houses didn't just go to 500,000. They kind of crept up. Well, look at my Joe Montana rookie card. I bought it at $150 maybe at worst, and it's just about perfect, a little off center. Well, it didn't go right to 100,000. It went from up to 1,000, and then all of a sudden the grading came out, and all of a sudden you got a real price, and that's what's going to happen with gold and silver. Luke, is it too late for many gold investors? No. Why would you say that? I was talking to my brother last night who has more, and probably $1.5 million to $1 million. Why would it be too late? If it's going to go up to 20,000 and it's at 3,700, it's not too late. This is not a bubble like stocks. This is not Nvidia or Tesla where they're overpriced. Gold is not overpriced. Gold is underpriced. As I show you, the real price of gold somewhere up here, and COMEX is 3,700. In other words, people will trade their dollars for gold at this price, which we don't know what it is. And I'm saying it's at least 20,000, if not more, because as people realize this is worthless, that's the only play, is to get into gold at whatever price. You just want to own gold because that's going up and the dollar's worthless. So really you're getting out of the dollar. So it's not too late. If I was him, I'd buy, if he's got all that money, I'd be buying a couple 100 ounces of gold and probably one of your boxes of silver, and that's what I'd be. And just, he can't lose because his 1.5 to 2 million net worth in dollars is worthless. So he's really worthless. He doesn't know he's worthless, but he's really worthless because he's in money or he's in stock. Neither have a value. So he has to get out into gold and silver if he wants to keep his $1.5 million or $2 million. If he keeps it in dollars or banks or gold or wherever he's got it, now maybe he's got some in a house, and the house will be okay. If he's got Rolexes and mantle cards, he'll be okay. But if he is in cash or stocks, he needs to get out because they're going way down, and the cash is going out. So if he's got $1.5 million in this, it's worthless. He doesn't understand it's worthless, but you can't keep printing it and keep value. So therefore it's worthless. Therefore, he needs to get into gold as protection of his $1.5 million, $2 million in that. So that's about as easy as to explain. You can't hold dollars or paper instruments like stocks, like bonds. Real estate will lose its value, but get valued in gold, and it'll be much cheaper. It'll be, so your $500,000 house is in dollars. The dollars go to zero. Your house goes to zero. Oh, wait, gold-backed currency. Maybe it's worth 50,000, but it's gold-backed currency. So it's worth much more than the monopoly money. Do you think we're in for a recession? We're already in a recession, housing market and stock market corrections. Yeah, I mean, all that is overvalued, and there's no more up to go with it. And as the dollar goes out, like I said, stock market's going to crash probably in October because that's when it usually does. And the housing market, we're going to crash. We are in a recession. I mean, they might not call it that because it's political, but recession is a slowdown in the economy. People are losing their jobs. There's no way that's why they push the stock market up. So you sit there and go, oh, look at the stock market's higher. And that's not the economy, and that's bullshit. They're just printing money for that. I told him he should go down to the coin store and trade the 20K cash in his safe for gold. Well, that's a no-brainer. He should leave a little bit of cash for bills or trips or whatever. But if he's got $2 million, I assume he's got it somewhere else that it's a stock. He could sell the stock for the money. But yeah, I mean, he needs to do the whole $1.5 million into gold and silver. It won't hold its value because these morons keep printing it. And it's not like Bitcoin's the answer or stable coin. They're digital. They're not worth anything. They're not backed by anything. So how is the Bitcoin stable coin any different than this? This is not backed by gold. This is not backed by anything. It's worthless. So everything else in that category, Bitcoin and stable coin and stocks going to be trouble because you're going to be in a recession, and who's going to buy your product? Right. So of course the stock should go down, but it's being manipulated up, just like gold's manipulated down. And that's Wall Street. They want the commission. So they want you in stocks, but they're not worth anything. But they're not going to tell you that. Well, buy Nvidia, buy Apple, buy Amazon, buy Microsoft. They're not worth it because their sales are all going to drop because it's a recession and people are losing their jobs. And then AI is coming in. So you're even losing more jobs. And the thing with AI, you're not paying AI. So therefore, they're not buying any goods or services. Again, Adam Smith, you pay me $100. That gives me $100 to spend in the market. If I'm AI and a robot, you're not paying me anything. So then I have no money, and I'm not a robot. I'm not going to go into the market and buy something. That kills the market. So that's what they're doing. Yeah, if he wants to talk to me, that's fine. But basically, yeah, I don't know where his other 1.5 million to 2 million is, but he doesn't have any value, and that's the big scam here. People think I got $1 million, so I'm all set until they realize it's not worth anything. So it's like Bitcoin. It's really, you don't have anything, and I don't know, but yeah, he needs to get out of that. All right. Let's just take a look at the key college football games. Now, all my picks are in, and I just added 2 pro locks. Well, I didn't add, I had 1 pro lock there. I added another pro lock, and I have 2 college locks. Looking for a big weekend. I've been very selective who I want to take. I think it should be a good weekend. Again, I gave you a free pick here of Baylor against Oak State. Baylor off of a loss, explosive offense, great quarterback. Oak State is Z team. They got a freshman quarterback. And then to add on to that, the coach got fired, Mike Gundy. Well, there's no way the offensive coordinator is not really going to change the team. I would imagine you like playing for Mike Gundy. Now he's gone. I don't see how that benefits them. So Baylor's the free play. I do have a pick going today. There's 3 games. Let's take a look at those lines, and then we'll get into key games on. So we got Florida State 760.5 against Virginia. A lot of injuries on Virginia, but not the quarterback. I'm trying to figure out how to read these. There's a lot of all of a sudden on a team, there's 10 guys out, and they're linebackers and guards, and you don't know if they're starters or bench guys, if they're mean. So I take it as, is the quarterback out? If the quarterback's not out, I'm fine. All right. Arizona State 354 to TCU. And again, a lot of injuries on TCU, but I don't know if they're meaningful, and they're not the quarterback. So that should be a very good game. And then the last one, Houston 47.5 to Oregon State. Oregon State, the Z team. Houston, Willie Fritz, very good defense, a 9 defense. Oregon State with a 39 defense. Okay, Notre Dame 4.5, 63.5 to Arkansas, 2 over teams. Notre Dame, they played 3 games and they've all hit 60. So they don't have that defense. Arkansas, pretty explosive team also. So you got 2 overs going there. Duke, Syracuse, Duke 459.5. And the quarterback's out, although the line is gone from 4 to 5.5 back to 4. I don't understand. Was the quarterback all of a sudden recovered? 4.5. There's a 5. Yeah, hard to understand that, but Syracuse quarterback's out. Andolini or whatever, the guy from Notre Dame. Georgia Tech 52.5 to Wake Forest. We like our Haynes King. Kansas 4.5, 57.5 to Cincinnati. This number has gone up. Since Cincinnati's okay. Kansas, we know we like Kansas. Very strong defense. I can't believe I didn't get blood on my shirt. I was shaving I'm waiting for the blood to hit my shirt. Fortunately, it stopped. Okay, so Kansas, very strong team. Cincinnati, mm, don't know. 4.5, 57. Kansas, much the better team at home here. UCF, Kansas State, we have no idea. UCF yet. They haven't played anybody. Kansas State, they barely beat North Dakota. They lost to Iowa State in the beginning. Not as strong as they usually are. USC 7-16.5. We got USC playing a 9 a.m. game for them, a noon game for Illinois, which is still 11 o'clock for Illinois. This is just ridiculous. I don't know what to do here. I was going to play USC, and I didn't because of the 9 a.m. I'm sure they'll be tired. It's a bullshit thing to have these guys. Imagine you're working at a job and you work 9 to 5, and then you gotta come in at 6 in the morning or something. I mean, it's crazy. And not even that. They probably are getting up at 6 a.m. Their time to get to the park by 7, and then 9 o'clock's the kickoff. So it's tough. Anyway, Vanderbilt 22.5, 58.5 over Utah State. Utah State's not a bad team. They got Brocken Mendenhall. We got Mikey Keene. Should be a good game there. Luke, if your brother wants to call me, have him call me. I'll walk him through and explain it. But as long as the dollars get printed, they're worthless. They're not backed by anything. Neither is Bitcoin or stable coin. I don't know where his money is. It's not my business, but he's got a lot of it, and I'd hate to see him lose it. But he can't lose in gold and silver. It's as simple as that. So feel free to have him call, or you can ask questions. You can call me. Let's see. Utah gets West Virginia. Utah 12.5, 47.5. Utah off of the loss. West Virginia got killed by Kansas. They're a little bit better at home. They beat Pitt. I don't know what to think. I think Utah will be pretty pissed off after the way they played Texas Tech. They had all sorts of fumbles and linemen downfield, costing them a 60-yard touchdown. I do like Devin Dampier. I still like him. He's a great quarterback, and they have usually a killer defense here. So Utah off of a loss. Let's go to UConn and Buffalo. Buffalo, why do I talk in this one? Their quarterback's doubtful. So their quarterback's from Kansas State. He's probably second string. He's crying he didn't get things, so he transferred to Buffalo, but he's doubtful. And here comes UConn in, who's a pretty good team this year. UConn laying 3.5. That might be a cheap number there. Indiana 8.5, 47.5 to Iowa. Let's go to that. Indiana, we saw kill Illinois. Are they going to go into Iowa and kill them? I've never, even the good Michigan and Ohio State teams never went into Iowa and killed them. So everybody's looking at last week, Indiana, Illinois, and they're going, oh, Indiana's going to beat them 63-7. It doesn't work like that. Also, Indiana's a road favorite. Have they been a road favorite before? That's a whole different mindset, as you're the hunter, not the hunted. I mean, they're the favorite, and they're used to probably being the dog, and it's a very different situation. Iowa, they know they're the dog at home, and they're pissed about it. So we'll see what happens here. Not loving Indiana, and I don't love Iowa, and I don't love the over or the under in the game. It's a very confusing game. I could see Iowa winning. I could see Indiana. You just don't know the way the game's going. Let's see. My Navy, 45.5 over Rice. Navy's been very explosive, 435 yards, mostly on the ground. Rice is an under team with a 20 defense. So this is, go Navy, beat Army game. Baylor, I talked about 21-58.5 over Oak State, the Z team. Bobby's team, LSU and Ole Miss. Ole Miss 1.5, 56.5 to LSU. What can I say? LSU, no offense. Ole Miss has an offense against the weak teams. I don't think they'll score much against LSU. The total is 56.5. I'm not buying that. I don't know if LSU can win. I don't know how strong Mississippi. So Mississippi they played Kentucky 30-23. So it should be a good game. LSU, Newsmeyer, if he gets going, then they can win, but they're not a live dog the way they're not scoring. Auburn A&M. A&M's been lighting it up. We like the quarterback read. Auburn, Jackson Arnold from Oklahoma runs a lot, but they score a lot. They did go to Baylor and win. A&M 6.5, 52.5. This should be a very good game, I believe. Where am I? Okay. Ohio State, Washington. Ohio State, let's see. They give you an 8.5, but I want to see all of them. 8.5, 7.5, 8.5. So we'll go with the 8.5. Washington, 8.5, 51.5. I think Washington can win this game. I think they're a very live dog. This is not a free pick. This is just me saying I'm want to say how good Washington is, and I think Ohio State is a little, I don't know. They're not the number one team. Now, if they go to Washington and win, I'll give them the number one team. I'm not sold on their quarterback. Decent defense, but you got Matt Patricia, so how good can that be? Washington, very strong at home always, even when they have bad teams. Good quarterback, should give Ohio State some fits. They'll probably try to pressure him and making him into bad decisions. So I think Washington in 14.5 is very live. Ohio State, I don't know. It's hard to bet against Ohio State, so be careful here. Tennessee and Old Mississippi State. Tennessee 7.5, 63.5. They're not at home. Mississippi State beat Arizona State, who just beat Baylor. So Mississippi State's not bad. Don't sleep here. Probably a live dog here. Tennessee doesn't have the defense as Georgia showed you. So should be a good game. I don't know if it's Mississippi State isn't really lighting it up, even though they have the Baylor quarterback shaping. Let's see. Virginia Tech, NC State. NC State 10.5, 57.5. Virginia Tech's not very good. Weak quarterback. And somebody thought Jones was good. I don't know why. He's terrible. Arizona goes to Iowa State. Iowa State 6. This was 7. And 48.5. Iowa State, very good team here. Arizona, we don't know about. They were great 2 years ago. The coach left for Washington, or Washington's much better. Arizona had a bad coach last year, switched coaches. And anyway, we'll see how they are. Iowa State's a solid team, good quarterback, good defense. Should be a good game. Probably be a close game because that's what Iowa State usually does, especially against an Arizona who has a good quarterback, but we're not sure about the rest. Let's see. Arizona with a 10 defense because they haven't played anybody, and Iowa State of 14. So again, even though we're in week 5, the first 4 games, we don't know anything about Arizona. We do know Iowa State's good, but in their 2 games, they won by a field goal. So they're not, we don't know how good Arizona is. So will it be, can Arizona State, it'll probably be a close game. Let's see. Oregon, Penn State 3.5, 53.5. Oregon's a 9 defense, although they played Oak State and they played Oregon State, 2 Z teams. Penn State's played nobody. They played Villanova. Penn State with a 6 defense, Oregon with a 9. It's a whiteout and everybody's freaking out. I think Oregon's a live dog here. Allard, what has he done? Ohio State goes to Penn State and wins. Oregon's used to the big games. They're explosive. I think this is a close game, and this is a tease the dog game, I think. Alabama and Georgia. Georgia 353.5. This is also probably a tease the dog game, but we're not really sold on Alabama because of the Florida State game. They look like shit. Then they beat Lou Monroe and nobody. They haven't beat an SEC team, so we don't really know how good they are. We know Georgia beat Tennessee because the kid missed the field goal. Georgia should have lost that game. Georgia's very strong at home. They're lacking their running game, and apparently their defense is not as strong. Joey Aguilar lit them up. So watch the Lions draft Joey Aguilar, not play him, and then say how bad he is, even though he lit up Georgia. So again, Hendon Hooker did that. Surprised he's not playing. He's better than most of these scrubs. So Georgia, it's a tough one to call. You hate to bet against Georgia. You really don't want to bet against Alabama. Maybe you go total over or under. Georgia can score on Tennessee and gave up a ton to Tennessee. So Alabama, DeBoer is an offensive coach. I think this game gets into the upper 20s. It's a 53. So I can see 30 to 28 easily. So take that for what you will. And our last game, BYU 749.5. BYU, a very, very strong defense, a freshman quarterback. Colorado with the new quarterback, Prime Jr. is gone. Prime's crying. He wants to go coach Dallas so he can get Prime Jr. BYU, very, 5 defense. So that's the key to it. Now, BYU probably wins this game, but that's it. Yesterday, East Card 28-6 over the Army. The Army's got kind of a weak defense, and they showed it. I was going to play the Army, and they got a 32 defense, and East Carolina's got a 15, and that's what talked me out of it. Again, we're looking at defenses. Z teams. We got Oregon State tonight. We've got basically CMU is a W. We'll call them a Z. Arkansas State plays Lumon. They're both Z's. Akron, a W against Toledo. West Virginia, a W against Utah. UCLA is Z team at Northwestern. They got to travel. Oregon State is your Z team and your free play against Baylor. Middle Tennessee is Z team to Kennesaw State, a W. Virginia Tech, a W to NC State. Jacksonville State, a W to South Miss. Missouri State, a W to Western Kentucky at home, and the spread's only 4.5. Something doesn't make sense there. Stanford and San Jose State are W's. UMass, a Z team against Missouri. Now that they are a Z team. Washington State, a W to Colorado State. They got crushed by Washington. And Lou Lafayette, a W because their quarterback's out. Now, are these really Z teams and W teams? That's the $1 million question. Are they really what we think they are? And are the A teams really what they think they are? And I know in the pros, we really don't know what Indy and Jacksonville are. So it's a very difficult bet. This should be a simple bet. If we knew let's say Indy's going to San Francisco. If we knew what Indy was, we could easily bet Indy as a dog. No, Jacksonville is going to Frisco. Indy's going to LA. Do we know these teams are what they appear to be? Jacksonville looks like a B team with the 17 defense, but we know Lawrence stinks. Indy's an A team with the 19 defense, but we know Jones stinks. What is going on? Who is who? And this is what we don't know. And that's what we're trying to find out. I will do pros. I think I'll have to do a show later. I have to go and get my friend. And anyway, we will see. But that's your college. Your free pick is Baylor. In the pros, your free pick is Detroit. Now, I played Detroit on Monday night. It was 7.5, so I played -1.5. I know it's 10 now. Try to get it under 3, but I don't think it'll matter. I think they'll still kill Cleveland. I think they had their loss, and now it's like, here we go. And Cleveland, they have a good run defense, but Baltimore put up 40 points on them. Green Bay, I don't know. They didn't really run well. Green Bay was way out. They didn't care last week. In the first week, Buffalo or whatchamacallit, lost. Cleveland lost to somebody. Cincinnati. They beat Cincinnati, so who doesn't really run the ball very well? Cincinnati, you got no Joe Burrow. Daniels, we're waiting. He's trying to play. He practiced a little. Penix is healthy. I know he tried to trip somebody and didn't get away with it. So again, be careful on the big games. You got LSU and Ole Miss, Alabama and Georgia, Ohio State, Washington, Penn State, Oregon. Usually it's tease the dog on those games. The Ohio State game, especially, they have to go West Coast. And Washington is it's a top 5 team. Washington could get the W. I think pretty much they should cover. Now, it's a ballsy pick to bet against Ohio State, but you do what you do. I mean, that's probably what you want to do. So we will see. But that's what you're looking for. So a lot of it, like Penn State, we don't even know who they are. They haven't played any. Oh, they beat Villanova. We know Oregon's explosive, but we don't know Dante Moore. He was at UCLA. He sucked. But that's the same thing Bo Nix was. He was at Auburn and he sucked because he was at a weak offense. And then he goes to Oregon and all of a sudden he's a superstar. So you can't ignore. You got to understand they changed systems. And he's better in the Oregon system. And Dante Moore looks better in the Oregon system also. And he's had a few games to get ready for this Penn State. Will the whiteout bother him? Nah, they're in the playoffs all the time. They're playing big games with Washington and playoff games like that. So the whiteout's not going to bother Oregon. They're seasoned. Is Penn State, Allard's pretty much a choke? Are they really going to blow out Oregon? I can't believe that. Georgia and Alabama, I don't think they'll be a blowout. I mean, yeah, we know they look bad against Florida State, mostly the running quarterback. Georgia doesn't do that. Different team. But now Alabama got their settled down with the quarterback, and they are, okay, they beat Lou Monroe 73-0, but they're getting confidence. They kind of have the timing down and the system down. I'd be shocked if that was a blowout. Ole Miss LSU, I'd be shocked if that was a blowout, but we need LSU to score. We might have to put Bobby out there to quarterback. A&M plays Auburn. I'd be shocked if that was a blowout. The blowouts usually come against the weak defenses. So anyway, I got to go. I will be back later. We'll talk pros. We'll talk gold. Mark McGuire's on, but he's got some stupid guests, so it's not worth it. Again, gold is 37. Well, let's check it out. And silver's in the 45s. So let's leave you with what they're at right now. Gold did the 10 o'clock jump as I thought. See how it went down just before 10? And it went down to 37.64 to 37.55. Well, when it does that, when it hits 10 o'clock, they're doing it on purpose. So if they're going to buy, they lower it just before 10 and then buy the option. So 37.69, we could get 38, but it closes tonight at 5, and then it opens on Sunday night when China gets a hold of it. 45.56 for silver, on its way to 100. And that's what you've got to understand. It's not a stock. It's not you buy and sell. Okay, Luke, you have a nice day, and I will talk to you later. Give me a call, and otherwise I'll be back later. Pros we'll talk about tomorrow. There's no rush, no games till Sunday. Again, is Daniels going to play? I don't understand Jackson Dart playing. Is Jackson Dart better than Russell Wilson? Not a chance. You think you have a better chance with Dart than Russell Wilson because Dart runs? I got news for you. Russell Wilson runs, but I'd rather have Scadaboo running. and you're going against San Diego's defense. This is going to kill the kid's confidence. I think you just ruined Dart. I think he's done. I don't think he's any good anyway, but this is not the way. I don't know why they draft these guys and they are so quick to put them in as if what they did in college will help them in the pros. I don't understand how stupid these coaches or GMs or owners, whoever's doing that. We saw Anthony Richardson, he was a zero. We see Drake May, he's a zero. We see Daniel Jones, he's a zero. I mean, these guys stink, and yet they keep playing them because they run, thinking, well, the fans like to see running quarterback. I mean, no, they like to see winners. All right, I'm going to go. I will talk to you later. Your free pick today is Baylor, and tomorrow or Sunday it's Detroit and Houston. And have a good day. Watch gold and silver. Let's see, silver at 50 already, and gold at 4,000 on its way to 5, on its way to 10. It's going to take time. It's not going to just run, but you can see it's running. All right, www.teaserking.com. All right, take care, everybody. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.